going on, guys? It's K-Dub here with another episode of Crypto Zombie. So today is Wednesday. That's right. It's hump day. And yes, indeed, it feels like a hump day. Look at this market. Not really the greatest, right? So I do want to go into an indicator that is actually showing a pretty bearish indicator short term. I know not exactly what we want to hear, but I'm also going to show you guys why we're still on a bullish trend overall when you zoom out. So that's a good thing. We're going to get into that. We're going to talk about it. If that sounds interesting, you know what to do. Also, friendly reminder, this week special, we are doing a Ledger Nano X giveaway. So if you guys want to win it, just drop a comment on any video and we will do that drawing on Monday. Now, looking at some of these gainers, we have some altcoins that are up, so it's not a terrible day in the markets. I mean, we have Solve up 56%, Hedge Trade 34%, GX Chain 26%, Bytem, Ravane, Chainlink, VChain, Monocoin. So we are seeing some altcoins doing all right today, but the majority of the markets, if you're not in those few select coins that are doing well, you're probably getting hit today, but it's all right. Everyone's getting hit. Bitcoin actually getting hit harder than Ethereum today, which is interesting because Ethereum's been actually getting hit harder than Bitcoin. But anyway, let's have a look at what is going on. And also the one thing I want to point out is that we do have a real 10 volume of 1.2 billion, which is, well, actually it's almost 1.3. So we're only down about $200 million from yesterday. So you are showing the volume dropping off just a little bit. This may be playing into what is currently happening, which we're going to get into in just a second. One coin that is down is Kin, 26%. They're having some issues with the SEC. We're going to get into that a little bit later as well. Hopping on over here, if we have a look at Coin Farm, you're seeing we have sell over on Binance, two strong sells from BitThumb and Bitfinex, and also a sell from Bitflyer, and the longs and the shorts are damn near split down the middle, 49-51 essentially. So we are going to keep our eyes on that. So basically what we've had is we've had our Lisa, followed by our Bart, then we've had our Grandpa, and now we're basically looking to have this sort of direct upshot with Homer's belly, okay? So having a look at these charts right here, I wanted to point out something. Now, if we go to the lower time frame, the 1 hour, you can see right here, we actually have, and you could argue, that this is a mini death cross, right? We have the 50, moving over the 200. So this is something very negative. The other thing I want to point out too is you could see the $7,901 level that we've had the massive VPVR. As you can see, it provided a lot of trading was going on around here. Well, currently it was providing a little bit of a support. We fell below it. And as you can see right here, it is currently acting as resistance. So that is not really good short term. Okay? I also want to talk about what's happening. You see, we are still in this blue zone, so that is a good thing, okay? We spoke about this the other day. We came down here and we touched that $7,500 level that was providing a lot of support back here throughout mid to late May, and we also were supported by this red line at around 7,600. So currently, we are in the blue zone. Nothing to panic about, right? We said it's all right if we bounce around in this channel for a little bit, but people are still concerned about whether or not we're going to close this gap. Well, we've actually closed some of it on the CME futures. As you can see, we've moved this box a lot lower. We came down here, touched $7,471, but we still have to go all the way down to $7,188 if you actually want to complete this loop, okay, over at the CME futures. So I've actually shown a few different potential areas where we could see Bitcoin going, okay? Obviously, if we're anywhere inside this sort of whatever you want to call it, color, magenta, fuchsia, then I think we're doing just fine, okay? As you can see right here, we do have some support. Actually, it was like a support / resistance at the $7,200 mark. That's also around the area that we're looking to close the CME futures gap. So there is a potential chance that we might just simply come there, and that's it. That we might be done and we might just continue our rally. But as you can see right here, if we take all these points of contact that we had, back in early February, we also had this little sideways consolidation that happened in April, and all of these trajectories are still going up, which is a good thing. So chances that Bitcoin falls, anytime soon, it will probably get supported by these trend lines, and I don't think that we're going to start a downwards trend. I just think that we'll have some form of a correction and then continue upwards. Now, the key level
level that we've been talking about is 30%. Now, if you take 30%, and the reason that we say this is because we've seen it time and time again, over and over throughout history on the Bitcoin chart. Well, if we come up to where we had the high right here, we had $9,072. This is over on, BLX. And if we were to have that 30% pullback, I mean, guys, this would be, give or take 1%. Okay, so 29.3%. We're basically pulling back to the $6,400 region where we had that massive VPVR, okay? All that volume. So that is basically what I'm looking at. I got my eyes on it. And let me tell you guys, if we do get down to that $6,400 level, you can bet that I'm putting it along. I'm putting it along at 5x or 10x or something like that, because that for me, I personally don't see us going any lower. I think that's the bounce if we do, go any lower. But like I said, there's a potential chance that if the bulls stay in control, well, then we might not even get that low, guys. But we have to keep our eyes on it. Currently, right now, I'm not trading anything. I'm just holding. I'm not selling. I'm not buying. Dollar cost averaging, I always do. You can never go wrong with just buying a little bit each week, right? But as far as full on trading, not really doing anything right now. That's my opinion. You could be having all the fun you want. Maybe you're trading, but for me, like I said, if we get down to that $6,400 level, for me, that signals the nice 30% retracement we were looking for. We're hitting that support, and I'm definitely going to long this baby. So you let me know if you want to join me on that ride and see if we can, ride that long all the way up to 20K, 80K, because I definitely missed down here. I really wish I was able to get one in, but what are you going to do? Nobody knew what was happening back then, right? Also, if you guys haven't had a chance to check out my Bybit tutorial, I will drop that above for you guys. I've been doing really well with it. Not really doing too much scalp trades, just kind of wait for massive movements, and then, put in a little 5 to 10x, get a little bit and then get out, because you got to be careful. You do not want to get greedy. But let's talk about what Big Jonas is saying over here. So he's saying a close below 8K today, and I wouldn't be surprised if Bitcoin did this or this over the next few weeks. So to just sort of show you what he's talking about, he's saying a potential downwards trend. Now he's calling right around that $6,500 level. We were looking at the $6,400, but there is a potential target down here for $5,401. Now that's according to him, but there is one specific indicator that I really, really want to go over right now, and this is the GTI Vera Divergence Indicator. Yes, that's a mouthful, isn't it? Well, basically, it detects positive and negative trends, and it's recently flashed a sell signal for the first time since April, suggesting that potentially there might be further downside.
Don't beat again. No! And again.
Now, you have Jake Stolarski, right? He's a senior trader at Greenwich. He said that the market is currently going through an identity crisis, trying to find a place to stabilize. He says the key technical levels have been creating market volatility for sure, due to sudden shifts in sentiment. But here's the important part that I want you to look at. People are seeing where the resistance is, where the stops are both up and down. So basically, he says that people are trying to find a stabilizing point where they can layer into a core position. So this signals to me not that people are selling and getting out and saying, screw this. No, they're waiting for that perfect opportunity. They're looking for that pullback, right? And it just might be that $6,400 level. We do have other levels around 7,200, psychological around 7,000. There's also a lower one around 5,500 potentially. But I think ultimately now that people have seen this massive run up, these massive gains that we've made, they want a piece of the action. They want a piece of the pie here. All these people that were afraid to buy down here, well, they missed the boat, right? So a lot of them are going to be hesitant, and they're going to try to wait to get a better potential deal. So that's just something that I want to point out moving forward. Also, though, don't forget, even though we're in the markets, we're seeing all this stuff, a lot of the outside world is really just catching on to all this. All of this is just sort of, catching new wind. Look at this. Some bet Bitcoin price could reach $50,000. These are still headlines that you're seeing in newspapers. This came out just yesterday. So it's not like the overall world is afraid. It's just that we've been in the markets and now we're having our pullback, right? So ultimately, zoom out. The trend is your friend. We're still going up, but we're having a little bit of difficulty currently. So there is going to be some turbulent waters moving forward. However, I did want to point out, you even have this dude over here who is, all about gold. He's definitely a crypto a crypto skeptic, I'll say that, even he's saying that maybe the fact that Bitcoin is actually going up could be a positive indicator, saying that, you know, with everything going on, with the trade war and everything, maybe people are looking for other places to hedge their money, especially to get out of dollars, right? So I just want to play this for like 5 seconds really quick, but he is a gold guy, so I'm not going to go into it too much, but you can see even he sort of validates the credibility of Bitcoin.
Well, so tell us why you think Bitcoin may be a good place to hide for investors.
Well, I watch Bitcoin as a signal, as an indicator, not because I want to own it, because I'd rather own gold as an alternative currency. So over the last couple of weeks, we've seen this sharp rise in Bitcoin. And to me, that was saying something in terms of what markets were thinking about what the Fed was going to do, the turmoil created by the threatened tariffs. And then all of a sudden, soon after, gold started to trade much better.
So obviously, he is a gold bug. He does go on to continue to talk about gold a lot, but I thought it was interesting how even someone who is a, completely 100% crypto skeptic is like, yeah, you know what though? This does show me that you do have these investors, these traders, these people trying to secure, an asset of real value. They're looking for these options, and some of them are in fact turning to Bitcoin. In fact, I wanted to just point out this thing from Christopher Vecchio, senior currency strategist over at Daily FX, and he did an interview with Kitco News. They asked him, what do you think? I mean, with the recent, pullback, I mean, does this mean that we're not really in a bull market just yet? And this is what he had to say.
Speaking of volatility, let's wrap here with your thoughts on Bitcoin. It was at 9,000 earlier this morning. We've come back down a little bit here, but is the bull rally alive here?
I think it is. One thing that we've been watching for at least the first 5 months of 2019, something that wasn't on our radar until really the end of last year, but has been the relationship between Bitcoin and emerging market currencies. And the leading currency for some time between September and this past April was the Turkish lira. The rolling correlation on just going back to September 1st was something like 0.78, very statistically significant. Now, over the past month, the currency with the highest correlation to Bitcoin has been dollar yuan. And so the fact that we've seen the Chinese yuan weaken so significantly as these trade war fears have increased has been that catalyst needed for Bitcoin to rally. In an environment where the global financial system looks like it is potentially at risk because of the world's two largest economies going at odds, people may be looking for alternative avenues to find ways to circumvent the capital controls being put in place, ways to move their money around without the Chinese or U.S. governments taking stock of it.
So you can see how there's just so many pieces of this puzzle getting put together. There's not really just one reason why Bitcoin has recently started rallying. There are a lot of different reasons. There's reasons on the technicals, there's reasons on the fundamentals, and when you just look at what's happening in the world with these trade wars, right? With just depreciating currencies, with this super high inflation, with what you've seen with, for example, the Turkish lira, or even what you've seen in Venezuela and all these other things, plus the fact that you had Trump potentially coming out saying he wanted to, stop remittances to Mexico. I mean, granted, these are all just things in talks. These are just ideas, but all of these play into what is happening with Bitcoin and why we're seeing, OTC spiking in all these different countries and everything. So I just wanted to point that out, guys. And also remember, Bitcoin is a game of accumulation, okay? And as you can see right here, do you want to be a part of the 21 million club? Try to own just one Bitcoin. And I know it's getting more expensive by the day, but I do say this to you guys. Think about how life-changing that could be. You don't know what these altcoins are going to do. Some of them 10x and then they crash down to zero. But when you're hearing talks about Bitcoin potentially replacing gold, $330,000 a coin, why would you not want to just own one? And I do, not financial advice, but I do think that it is everybody's best interest to try to own at least one Bitcoin, before it's unattainable anymore. So I just wanted to point that out. Also, interestingly enough, speaking of the pomp, you know how he always says long Bitcoin, short the bankers? Well, he says the trade, long Bitcoin, short the Deutsche Bankers, is actually up 139% since September 2018, which is actually kind of funny that Bitcoin is actually doing better than Deutsche Bank. So there you go. Also, here's another really interesting statistic that Plan B put out. So say you had held 5% Bitcoin and 95% cash. Okay, you got it? So you're holding 95% cash and just 5% Bitcoin. How would that have played out in comparison to the S&P? Well, you could see more return and less risk every year, 6 years in a row. Note that max yearly loss risk of 5% Bitcoin plus 95% cash is negative 5%. S&P did negative 6% in 2018 and negative 38% in 2008. So I think we can clearly see that even with the 2017 bubble, Bitcoin is still a better asset all around. Also, shout out to Cyphermonk running the Bitcoin core on your Nintendo Switch. That is awesome. That is absolutely awesome. Also, just wanted to talk about the other advancements in the space as well, not just to harp on Bitcoin. We do also have advancements in blockchain as well. Here's a Bright Food blockchain milk, and you can see right here, you could scan it, and it tells you, all the details about it. I guess you can even see the farm where the cows are, I suppose. So that's some pretty cool stuff as well. So those are some advancements. And of course, guys, it wouldn't be a cryptocurrency video without our good old buddy Justin Sun. He was over here at the Squawk Box, and you guys can watch this. You've probably already seen it. But essentially, the one thing I wanted to point out was when asked who he would be interested in bringing to the lunch, this was his response.
Have you decided who you're inviting to this lunch?
We haven't decided yet, but definitely we have lots of the people represent the whole industry. I have some people in the list. I haven't talked to them yet. For example, like Vitalik Blin.
Vitalik Blin, by the way.
Charlie Lee, which is the founder of the Litecoin, and also CZ is the founder of the Binance, and also other several opinion and the exchange and also mining leaders.
Mm-hmm. I think my favorite part of the interview, though, is when she talked about rat poison and she was like, isn't that how you made most of your money, though, with Bitcoin? And like the way he just laughs is almost like a little creepy, but...
Were you bothered by some of the comments he's made about Bitcoin in particular when he started calling it rat poison squared? I mean, you've made most of your money in this area.
Oh man, this is just, you gotta love it though. You gotta love the characters in the space. So talking about some serious stuff, moving on. We have Taj Dreera. He co-authored the original paper underpinning Bitcoin's experimental Lightning Payments Network. Well, it looks like now he's released a new research paper. I know this is the boring part of the video that nobody cares about, but this is the part that, is probably important for, moving this forward. It says he's known for being one of the most prominent technologists behind the Lightning idea that Bitcoin can scale significantly. So yeah, they're working on some new stuff. We'll keep an eye on it, okay? I guess basically once it's out, I'll let you guys know how that's working out and we'll have a look at it. So I wanted to talk about this article right here. So this guy says he sold his Monero for Bitcoin on BISC, transferred it to 2 different exchanges, and both accounts independently got locked in the past 2 months. The first was Poloniex and the second was Bitfinex, and both of them said that it was suspicious these withdrawals or deposits that he did, excuse me. But here's the thing I want to point out. That is sort of the problem with Bitcoin, is that Bitcoin is pseudo-anonymous, right? It's not actually totally anonymous. And on top of that, you can trace the different coins to where they have already been. So that's why it's technically not fungible. You know what I mean? It's actually semi-fungible, because if you trace Bitcoin back to something like, an illegal hack or something like that, well, then technically you have tainted Bitcoin. So that could be a problem moving forward. And that's definitely something that we're going to have to figure out. What are we going to do about that? I mean, if this part of the code passes through some illegal operation and then gets distributed, somewhere else, and then I get that Bitcoin from someone unknowing. Now, am I part of this criminal operation, right? So that is a little bit of a fuzzy gray area we do have to talk about. But on the bright side, Microsoft, in further evidence of its intentions to aid blockchain development, has released a new tool called Verisol that verifies and analyzes smart contracts developed in the Solidity programming language. As you guys know, this is the main programming language of Ethereum. So that is definitely some good news moving forward. Now, talking about why Kik is down 26% today. Well, the SEC announced the filing of a lawsuit against Kik Interactive, wherein it alleges that the company basically sold millions of dollars worth of unregistered securities as part of its $100 million ICO, which $100 million, pretty damn high, I'll say that. But They said by selling 100 million in securities without registering the offers or sales, we allege that Kik deprived investors of information to which they were legally entitled and prevented investors from making informed investment decisions. Companies do not face a binary choice between innovation and compliance with the federal securities laws. So tell me if that's something that you've been affected by. Did you get in on this ICO? How are you being affected by this currently? Obviously the price fell, that's a problem. But let me know what you guys think about this. I mean, these things have been going on for a while. We're still waiting for the SEC to come out and say what they're doing. But yeah, but anyway, guys, on a funny note, Vitalik had a little bit of an opinion about Bitcoin SV.
What's your position when it comes to Bitcoin SV and what's happening in the space? BSV being delisted from Binance and the noise that Craig Wright is creating.
Yeah, and obviously BSV is a complete scam, but let's think from...
So anyway, he thinks it's a complete scam. He goes on to talk about Binance and some other stuff, but I thought that was pretty cool, guys. And also, just to prove there is some adoption happening, my dentist accepts Bitcoin as a payment, and if you use it, you get a 20% discount. So how do you like that? Now, that being said, guys, I do want to talk about this website, dap.com. Now, I do appreciate them for sponsoring this segment of the video, but I wanted to discuss why dApps are actually going to be a really insanely popular part of this ecosystem. Also, before we get into it, friendly reminder, they do have a pre-listing airdrop, worth over $100,000. You have 8 days. So if you guys want to get in on that, get in on that now, okay? So basically, long story short, you're probably saying to yourself, what's the point in having dap.com? We have state of the dApps, we have dApp Radar, we have all these other, choices to use these dApps. Why dap.com? Well, basically in a nutshell, if I could just break it down, you have CoinMarketCap, right? What does CoinMarketCap do? Well, it's sort of a data aggregator. It shows you everything, right, that's going on, but you can't trade on CoinMarketCap. You'd have to go to Binance or some other exchange if you wanted to trade. So you can look at sort of state of the dApps and dApp Radar as more of the CoinMarketCap, whereas dap.com is more of the Binance, right? So what they want to do is have this one-stop shop where you plug in, because let's look at this right here. Like you have all these different things, MetaMask, Coinbase Wallet, TokenPod, etc. Scalar, you're talking about a 26-minute potential setup process. Okay, this is not user-friendly. This is not how you're going to get the next million users to adopt Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, right? So I have to fund my MetaMask wallet. I got to send Ethereum, then I got to go get this token, then I gotta make sure I have gas to see what I'm saying. It's way too complicated. So basically, you just register on dap.com and you're gonna have a portal into all of these different blockchains. Right now, currently, you could see right here, there is a market opportunity for it. For example, in 2008 alone, you had 4.2 billion revenues with 65,000 dApps on the App Store. That's probably a lot higher today. Dap.com is doing 6.7 billion volume, 1,423 dApps from 4 of the biggest blockchains, and they actually have a lot more as well. So they're estimating that this could potentially be a $15 billion, volume market expected by 2019. Now you can see right here, they do have a lot of traction currently, 2,150 dApps, 7 blockchains. In fact, I believe they added IOST as well, so that makes 8. Number 1 search on Google, I actually verified this. I actually just typed in dApp, just search for dApp, and with the exception of this ad that comes up, you can see that dap.com does come up right here, and then you do see that their Twitter is next. So they do tend to have that branding for dApp, I will give them that. And also the largest community with 100,000 registered users and 50,000 in the social community as well. So you could definitely see it's growing. And the interesting thing is it's been growing without any real marketing whatsoever. I mean, maybe with the exception of right now where I'm actually telling you guys about it. But you can see right here that the monthly traffic and monthly ad revenue have been consistently growing over time. So this is not only a great business opportunity, but it also provides a place to take all of this and put it in a one-stop shop. You don't need to worry about remembering your addresses. You don't need to worry about which wallet you're using. You don't need to worry about which blockchain you're using, right? You literally have all of it in one single place. And I think that this is going to be massive. I think the easier that you make it moving forward for these people trying to adopt this new technology, like I said, it has to be something that my grandma could use, something that's similar to just an app on your phone. You open it, that's it. You're done, right? That's exactly what these guys are trying to do. Now, you can see they talk about their competitive barrier. They say the market is small but competitive. They say we've seen over 20 projects tried to build similar solutions but failed to do so. But as you can see, the branding and the resources are the first step. So obviously, DApp.com, DApp is a buzzword. DApp is the first search on Google. They also have 6 blockchains plus IOST, which isn't in this for some reason. So you can see that acquiring and processing data from different blockchains can be very difficult, but they do have trusted data sources, Cointelegraph, CCN, Forbes, TechCrunch, Yahoo, Hacker Noon, Crypto Briefing as well. So that's something to definitely make note of. Now, you're probably saying, what is the point of the token? Obviously, I had the same question myself. Well, it is a utility token. And like I said, look at it like how Binance has a utility token. A lot of people said, why does an exchange need a token, right? Well, Binance is basically one of the best performing tokens there is, right? Coins now. So if you look at what they're doing, they're using it for community voting, Launchpad, and the store, using the dApps, and also building blockchain dApps as well, right? They have a whole bunch of different use cases, and don't forget that you're going to have to stake if you want to actually have your dApp on dApp.com. So that's another thing that is also going to be implemented, as well as discounts as well. Same thing like the Binance coin, you get discounts on trading, things like that. So there will actually be utility to it. Now, if we come over here and you're asking, well, how do these guys make money? Well, they have marketing ad fees. They have distribution fee, which is 0.2 to 25% referral fees, data services, and don't forget they are going to have the project Launchpad as well. So, you can imagine if Binance has their Launchpad for tokens and projects, well, these have Launchpads for dApps, right? So that's just something to definitely consider. Now, if you want to come over here and have a look, this is the actual token website. As you can see right here, we could scroll down, have a look at the team. Now, you guys may be familiar with Kyle Liu. He was the one over at A-Chain. He did the infamous forking speech, right? So we're very familiar with them. The team definitely has a lot of experience. And I do want to point out the advisors. You have the co-founder at Decentraland, CEO and co-founder at Pundiex, CEO and founder at Blockshow, and former CMO at Cointelegraph. And you also have the CEO at 7th Sense Holdings. So this is pretty massive, guys. Look at the investors: Link VC, Consensus Capital, and they're already partners with guys like CoinGeek, EOS Park, Ethfinex, Nell, all right, which is the other version, not the City of Zion for Neo and all those guys. So yeah, I mean, this is definitely pretty interesting. So we spoke about that as well. And if you look at the roadmap, you could see that really they're already working on the market intelligence. And by September of this year, they're already going to have dApp analytics. By Q1 of next year, they're going to have their multi-blockchain identity network. Now, this is pretty interesting. This is a decentralized tool built to create easy access to all dApps, making it even simpler, right? So this is called Min, and it's going to get rid of all the complexity about creating and managing multiple accounts from different blockchains, etc. And then finally by Q2, we have cross-chain dApp SDK. So definitely, guys, before I go, if you haven't gotten your airdrop, definitely get that. Very, very important. And check out dApp.com. See if you're interested. I think this could be massive. I think if these guys could do for dApps what Binance did for crypto to crypto trading, I think it could be absolutely massive. Keep your eyes on it. And that being said, that is it for me today, guys. So thank you so much for coming back to the channel. I really appreciate it if you stuck it out all the way to the end. Also, special surprise today. All right, so stick around. There's a special video coming out later, so definitely set your bell notification for that. Also, don't forget, we are doing the Ledger Nano X giveaway. Drop a comment on any of the videos for the week, and you are eligible. And that is it for me today, guys. So thank you so much for stopping by the channel. I appreciate it. I love you. You're the reason that I do this every single day. My name is K-Dub. This is Crypto Zombie. Until next time, stay crypto, and peace out.